Hi guys, this is absolutely hilarious. 30p Lee Anderson got pranked by a caller to LBC. A man who, it seems, was pretending to be his son phoned Rachel Johnson's show claiming that his dad was the Tory MP and that he was currently in hiding at his grand's house out of fear of being thumped by his father. Well, Lee wasn't too happy about this, as you can imagine, and he was invited on to Lee Anderson-friendly GB News to discuss what happened. The Tory MP challenged the caller to meet him in person and demanded that LBC, which he described as an anti-Lee Anderson tin pot radio station, respond to him about the incident and put in place checks for the future. Have a listen to this.
Lee, what's been going on?
I was at a fundraiser last night raising money for the party, and I got a call from a GB News colleague, a text message, to say, have you heard what's just happened on LBC? I said no, and then my phone just erupted. And I managed to get hold of this clip last night, listen to it, to this pathetic little creature, whatever he is, masquerading as my son. Quite insulting, Patrick. I mean, to do this is beyond the pale. I'm very disappointed with LBC as well, because they sort of carried on with the interview and no checks were put in place.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't an interview, it was a call-in. Okay, so they weren't interviewing somebody on the street and them claiming, I'm Lee Anderson's son. Or they didn't go out and try to interview Lee Anderson's son and say, wait a minute, you're not Lee Anderson's son. So when he talks about checks, this is somebody phoning in the show. What sort of checks could LBC carry out? Like, honestly, how could somebody phones a radio station, they sound legitimate. Now, there were a few mistakes in what he said. I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can listen to the call yourself. It is quite interesting. He made some mistakes which would raise red flags. But what checks could LBC legitimately put in place? Like, prove to me that you're Lee Anderson's son. Like, Lee Anderson is a celebrity. He's a celebrity politician. So there's a lot of information about him on the internet. So it'd be very easy for somebody just to do a quick Google on Lee Anderson and then pretend to be his son if they have a similar accent to him or put on an accent like his. How, once again, could somebody have checks in place? And once again, this is not an interview. This is somebody calling in. There's a big difference.
And it just goes to show how vulnerable we are as politicians now, or anybody really. Somebody can just make a phone call to a radio station and make these outrageous claims. And, before I knew...
So in the call, the guy said that he had been threatened by his father. Like, would anyone be surprised if Lee Anderson did these things? No, because he has done similar things in the past. He's threatened members of the public, for example, people protesting, Steve Bray. He's challenged him to a fight. So this, when the caller said that Lee Anderson had threatened him, it was not completely surprising. Like, if this had been Jacob Rees-Mogg's son called in to say that his father had beaten him or something like that, it would be a little bit out of character. But it doesn't seem to be all that much out of character for Lee Anderson. So that's probably why most people thought the call was legitimate.
Where I was, this has been shared on Twitter thousands of times, besmirching my good name and the...
What good name?
The good name of my family as well. Was absolutely disgusting. I'd like to have a minute with this chap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to ask, so it's definitely not your son then?
Definitely not my son, no. Definitely not my son. My sons have got better things to do than call up some tin pot radio station and make these outrageous allegations.
What do you want done about this now, going forward?
Well, we're just waiting now. I've spoke to my line manager at CCHQ. They've been in contact with LBC. We're waiting for a proper response. I want a full apology. They need to say sorry and put some checks in place in future. So this was...
Apologise for what? For a caller who called in? Like, and once again, put checks in place. What sort of checks can they put in place? Now, this is all the more hilarious because back in 2019, Lee Anderson, when he ran as an MP, was engaged in some, let's say, dishonest behaviour himself. Have a listen to this.
It's almost like it's been set up for us.
Set up? Well, more than I'd realised, for it was only after Lee Anderson had left us that my cameraman producer had the chance to tell me that because Anderson was wearing one of our radio microphones, we'd managed to record him setting up the apparently spontaneous doorstep encounter beforehand. Watch and listen. You can just see Anderson on the phone behind me.
Don't just make out you don't make out you know who I am. You know I'm the candidate, but not a friend. All right. I'm out at staff car park. Have a quick look. Yeah. All right, I'll see you in a minute. See you, mate.
At the time, Anderson said the call was merely about campaign material.
Right, I better turn this off. Some leaflets have just come for me, so.
In all my years filming elections, I've long suspected that certain candidates have set up friendly voters to make them look that much more popular. But this is the first time we've caught some candidate blatantly
in the act. So when Lee Anderson claims to be the victim here, he should look back at 2019 and realize, well, I was being a bit dishonest myself. So when I'm dishonest and people are dishonest towards me, well, it's fair game. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.